when you include those so-called superdelegates. A sweep today would put her one step, a major step, I must add, closer to ending the race. On the Republican side, it's the same 5 states and 172 delegates up for grabs. Donald Trump is expected to do well in the northeastern corridor. Here's where the Republican race stands. Trump will likely add to his lead, adding more immediacy to the partnership between John Kasich and Ted Cruz. I want to take a closer look at what's at stake for the Republicans right now. David Gregory is our newest CNN political analyst. He's the host of the David Gregory Show podcast. He's joining us from New York. First of all, David, welcome to CNN. Good to have you on our team. What will it mean? What will it mean for Donald Trump's campaign if he can, as the polls suggest, put up big numbers in all 5 states today, have basically a clean sweep?
Well, I think it means a couple of things. One, he continues to dust off the loss in Wisconsin. He had a big win in New York. If he builds to that, I think he can add to the idea that he's not just a weak frontrunner, which is what he's been. He has not hit 50% except for in New York. If he can do that, I look to his margins today to be important as he moves forward. He continues to build up that momentum because the stop Trump forces are really trying to gather and put a line down in Indiana to be able to deny him getting to the magic number.
The Stop Trump Alliance, as some are calling it, between Ted Cruz and John Kasich, not even about 2 days old. It's already showing some serious strain. As you know, the plan is to have Kasich focus in on New Mexico and Oregon out in the west, leave Indiana to Ted Cruz. But Kasich is fundraising in Indiana today, has already told voters there he'd make the best president. Donald Trump, of course, mocking all of this. Is this alliance really an alliance, or could it actually backfire on these 2 Republicans?
Well, it'll backfire if there's not a clean opportunity for Cruz to go up against Trump. Because right now, Trump's doing well in the polls. It gets tighter if it just becomes a 2-man contest. But as you say, Kasich is not completely pulling himself out. There's so much money getting poured in from all sides right now into Indiana. But this is really an important moment, because if you do have Trump winning in a conservative state like Indiana, it's not just that it shows he can win beyond the Northeast in more moderate Republican territory. It's also 57 delegates. And if he has a big night tonight, he gets within a couple of hundred delegates of 1237, then it gets very difficult to stop him. So I think this alliance is weak. I think that it's probably a little too late in coming, but it's still possible to give Cruz enough running room to try to make it very close in Indiana. Winner take all there. That's important. So getting close is not enough for the anti-Trump forces.
Are you surprised that Kasich has basically given up on Indiana, which is a neighboring state to Ohio? Basically, doesn't look like he's going to do well in another neighboring state today, Pennsylvania. What's going on over here?
Look, Kasich has one play here, and that is to get to Cleveland and have an open convention and make an argument that he is the best person to beat Hillary Clinton. He is certainly not winning the conservative primaries, and I think one of the reasons he stays in is that he thinks those more moderate voters on the Republican side who are for him probably go to Donald Trump and not Ted Cruz if he were to go out of the race. So however weak this alliance is, he still has an opportunity to play in other parts of the state with more moderate Republican voters and try to do his part to deny Trump.
Yeah, I would have thought he would be doing better in both Indiana and Pennsylvania. He was actually born in Pennsylvania. The only state so far he's won is his home state of Ohio. David Gregory, thanks very much. Once again, welcome to CNN.
Thank you.
And David Gregory, I want to remind our viewers that the host of the David Gregory Show podcast. Check it out. I think you will enjoy. Let's take a closer look at some of the expectations on the other side right now. We're talking about the Democrats. Hillary Clinton is looking to run the table in the 5 northeastern states that are voting today. She's been active on social media today, encouraging people to get out and cast a ballot, while Bernie Sanders has been out on the streets of Philadelphia shaking hands, taking questions, including from our own Jim Acosta.
Very curious what you're thinking about today. It's expected to be a big day for Hillary Clinton. Are you feeling any pressure to get out of this race?
That's a nice point. Joining us now from Burlington, Vermont, is Jane Sanders. She's the wife, of course, of Senator Bernie Sanders. Jane, thanks very much for joining us.
Good to be here, Wolf.
So realistically, 5 states, 5 Democratic contests today. What are you expecting today? Any surprises?
I think we'll do well in several of the states. As you know, 4 of them are closed primaries. So a lot of the people that we've brought into the process to try to enter the Democratic Party are they're having the door shut on them, so they're not able to vote. So that hurts us, and we know that. In the open primaries where independents who are willing to move into the Democratic Party get a chance to vote, Bernie does very well. He sometimes wins by landslide victories. In Rhode Island, it's an open primary, so we expect to do best there.
Because that's the only open primary today. The 4 other states are all closed. They're only allowing, as they always do, only registered Democrats to vote. So you think you might win Rhode Island, but maybe lose the other 4?
No, we hope that Pennsylvania and Connecticut look good. I mean, we will see. I think, as you know, it's proportional delegate count. So we'll split the delegates, and we'll see what happens.
Let's see where you go from there. Is there a scenario that you see where the campaign, this whole presidential campaign between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton could end before the convention in Philadelphia, where one of these 2 candidates has it all wrapped up? And clearly Hillary Clinton has a lot more delegates right now.
No, I find it interesting that everybody keeps on asking us to unite the party behind Hillary. 10 states haven't even voted yet. And Secretary Clinton did line up behind President Obama, but that was in June. And it was after a little bit of negotiation. So we feel very strongly that what we need to do is allow everybody to have the opportunity to vote for the candidate of their choice and also to vote for the direction of this country. You know, everybody keeps on paying attention to the horse race. Honestly, Wolf, have you ever heard anybody in the Main Street media from day one since Bernie announced say that he could win? Even after a string of 8 victories, it still was the second sentence, but he can't win. Well, you know, we've been doing a lot better than anybody ever thought, and we hope to continue and to win. And if we don't, it's very important that the issues that Bernie is talking about are carried forward, and he is intending to do that, giving people a chance to vote on the issues that he has talked about.
I think you make a fair point. A year ago, no one would have expected the independent senator from Vermont, Bernie Sanders, to be doing as well as he is against Hillary Clinton in this kind of contest. He is doing amazingly well, but she still has several hundred more pledged delegates, and if you add the super delegates, she has now over 500. He still has only about 40. She's still way ahead in that all-important delegate count. That's why she's the front runner, right?
Yes, but I think, everybody just keeps on talking about delegate mass, and I think I'm more of a fan of history and social studies and literature. I mean, I think that what we need to recognize is how do we move this country forward? How do we deal with the fact that 20% of our children are living in poverty? How do we deal with the fact that our young people are bankrupting themselves just to get an education? All the issues that Bernie is talking about need to be addressed, and they need to be addressed now. He is winning the 45 and under. What his agenda is the future of the Democratic Party and the future of our nation. Because, as I said before, there's a lot of independents out there that are not even being able to vote. And as you know, the polls for the last 3 months has had Bernie way ahead against all the Republicans, much more than Hillary, because independents and Republicans vote in the general election. That's something that needs to be taken into account. Mostly, we want to see these issues carried forward. You know, Bernie's all about the issues. He's been running for the presidency and making it very clear winning the presidency is not enough. We need a political revolution. We need a political movement. And we're going to continue that and have it in all 50 states. There's 10 more states to go. We want to bring people into the process, and we want their voices to be heard, not just to the convention, but after the convention. And if Bernie's the candidate, they will be. If he isn't, we will help to make Secretary Clinton an even better candidate for the general election. And a Republican cannot get the White House. We're committed to that.
I want to get you, so you're going to be obviously, if he doesn't get the nomination, you'll be out there campaigning very aggressively, assertively for Hillary Clinton to be the next president of the United States, and I'm sure your husband will as well, right?
We have always said that we will support the Democratic nominee, but not in April, in July. And that nominee can still be Bernie Sanders, and the issues that he talks about should be at the center of the campaign. anybody's.
Let me get your reaction to what the Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump just tweeted in the last hour or so, and let me put it up on the screen. Bernie Sanders has been treated terribly by the Democrats, both with delegates and otherwise. He should show them and run as an independent. That's the tweet from Donald J. Trump. What do you think?
I think that we've been very clear right from the beginning that we will not play the role of spoiler. The reason that he was active and he decided to run in the Democratic Party was just that. We cannot afford a Republican in the White House. We cannot afford a Republican appointing Supreme Court justices. So Bernie will not be running as an independent, but his political revolution, the political revolution that millions of people are part of, will be a force to be reckoned with, not just in the presidential race, but in the down-ticket areas as well. So, Donald Trump, honestly, one of the things that we will be fighting for on the platform, whether he's a candidate or not, is electoral reform. We know shutting people out of the process when they're actually excited about politics is not smart. It's really short-sighted. That's happened throughout this process. So millions of people have not been able, hundreds of thousands of people have not been able to vote, not to mention all the voting irregularities.
So we're out of time, but very quickly, Jane, has your husband been treated fairly by the Democrats?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but the process needs to change. We need an open electoral system, same-day registration, and open primaries.
I know you would like those independents, millions of them, who can't vote in Democratic primaries in certain states. You'd like them to vote, but clearly you think you would do much better with them than Hillary Clinton could. But those are the rules. They've been around for a long time, as you know.
But it's not just that. It's not just that. We knew those rules. We're not complaining like Donald Trump is. But the concern is it's short-sighted and it's not good for our democracy, Wolf. What we want to do is when people are excited about the process, we want them to be able to participate, and we want to keep them involved in the process. The system today is not. It's not good for democracy, and we are going to work very hard to change it.
One final question. Your husband keeps saying you're the one who prepares the tax returns every year. He's counting on you to release them. You did release the 2014 tax returns. What about earlier years? How's that looking?
Well, what's interesting is we released the 2014. Secretary Clinton hasn't released a transcript yet. So why don't we wait and see what happens?
So is that the linkage now? When she releases the transcripts of her speeches before Wall Street firms, that's when you'll release the earlier tax returns? Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Well, that's a new development. In all of this.
Mostly important. But honestly, Wolf, these are not the issues that are of concern to the American people. They're concerned about having no jobs, about bad trade policies, about foreign policies that are not making sense. I implore you, as a leading, wonderful host of a major show, please talk about the issues that concern the American people instead of delegate math and who can win or who can lose. It's more important as to what people will be doing. Secretary Clinton and Bernie Sanders have a lot more, as she says, that unites them than divides them. The Republicans need to be beaten. But there are things that differ, and we need to talk about that.
Fair point. All right, Jane Sanders, as usual, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Wolf.
Jane Sanders, the wife of Senator Bernie Sanders, joining us from Burlington, Vermont. We're going to get reaction. We're going to speak with a top official of the Hillary Clinton campaign. Lots of news coming in.